I have some really, really bad news. You're probably styling your coffee table impractically, and it's a problem. It's a problem, but don't worry. I'm going to teach you how to fix them in today's video. And most of these things you can fix today without spending a dime, most of them. Before we get into today's video though, I do want to say thanks to Audible for sponsoring today's video, and I can't wait to tell you more about them a little bit later on, but let's get into today's video. So let's start with mistake number one. You are styling directly on the coffee table. So what do I mean by that? I mean, you are taking your decor, you're taking your candle, you're taking your tree, you're taking whatever, and you're putting it directly on top of the surface that your coffee table is made out of. So you're taking all of your decor and you're putting it right on there. And the most important reason why we don't want to style directly on that coffee table is that if you like to style a lot, if you like to put lots of things on your tabletop, when it is time to sit down and eat dinner, should you eat at your coffee table? Should it be game night? Should you literally just want to use the coffee table for something other than decor? You have to find a way to move all of that out of the way. You know, when you go over to like have dinner and you're like, oh, wait, I cooked dinner. It's piping hot. It's the most delicious meal you're ever going to have, but I have to move these 50 million things off of my coffee table, and then I'm going to put them on the floor, and then you're definitely going to trip over them, and I'm so sorry about that. The last reason why you probably want to stop styling directly on your coffee table is because many people, especially with today's trends, have glass and acrylic coffee tables. So when you have glass and acrylic coffee tables, that means you can see through the coffee table, right? Because it's a glass. So you're like, where am I? Hello, I can see right through. This is an abyss. This is Alice in Wonderland. This is Hermione's purse, right? You can see through it, you can see through it. So when you put decor on top of something that is glass, it's very easy for it to get lost, right? Because there's the abyss of glass, right? You can see the floor. It's just a little bit distracting. So we want something to anchor that decor so that it is more prevalent. And while I mentioned this for glass and acrylic coffee tables, this also really matters if you like to style in a very like basic color palette. So if you're all black and white and you have a black coffee table, and you want to use black decor, if you have black on black on black on black and you have nothing breaking it up, you don't have like a gold tray or a white tray or a coffee table book or something to break it up, you cannot see the decor because it all blends in with one another. So for so very many reasons, of which I've just listed, it is so valuable to not style directly on your coffee table and instead use things like coffee table books and trays and boxes to anchor your decor, vary the heights, and break up your decor from the coffee table itself. Now, while I want you to use all of these things to, break up the monotony of your coffee table, the number one design mistake I see when it comes to coffee tables and practicality is overstyling that coffee table. If you do not need to use those things every single day, if those things do not spark creative joy for you every single day, they've got to go. They've got to go. They're not paying rent and they need to leave, right? Because they are squatting. So oftentimes I see people totally cover their coffee tables with decor. They're covered in books, they're covered in vases, they're covered in this and they're covered in that. And sometimes like these things, you want to read them or you want to experience them, but it's very difficult to experience them all at once. And you're covering up that coffee table. A lot of the times people spend a lot of money on coffee tables. Coffee tables are not cheap. So why are you covering up that, $300, $400, $1,000 piece of furniture with decor? The furniture in itself is also contributing to the design, so you want to let it shine as well. So for that reason, you do not want to overstyle. Overstyling can also be very costly, and most importantly, when you overstyle, you do not know where to look. There is no standard vignette, there is no focal point, so you're just kind of lost in the sauce. Is that a saying people still say? Well, it's one that I am going to say. Now, one of the ways I really realized that I was overstyling is I was listening to the Home Edit, a guide to organizing and realizing your house goals, because I've not realized my house goals yet, and my house is so disorganized and I need to get it ready for the holiday season because KB is hosting this year. And I was like, Kiva, you are overcluttering your home in general and you need to kind of pare things down and simplify it a little bit. So that title has been kind of transformative for me and how I style my entire home, how I organize my entire home, but specifically how I kind of approach the coffee table. And I do want to say thanks again to Audible for sponsoring today's video. If you're not familiar with Audible, Audible provides you with access to tons and tons of audiobooks, podcasts, and Audible originals. No matter what kind of titles you like to listen to, whether they be celebrity memoirs or mysteries, you can have access to those on Audible. And when you're an Audible member, you get one title a month that you can keep from the entire catalog. And of course, Audible members always have access to the growing list list of audiobooks, originals, and podcasts that are on Audible. Now, what I will also say is that thanks to the Audible app, so you can actually use Audible on website, or you can use the app, which I actually love to use the Audible app on my phone. Again, I'm listening to the home edit, but when you have the app, you can listen to Audible on the go. So I was listening to the home edit yesterday while I was on the stair stepper. I was climbing the mountain of having a disorganized home, and I was doing that with the help of the home edit. And I love that I can take this with me anywhere. So whether I'm traveling, whether I'm at the gym, whether I'm in my office, I can still continue listening to my incredible titles. And if you actually want to give Audible a try, new members can actually have a 30-day free trial. All you have to do is go to audible.com/DIYKB or text DIYKB to 500-500. Coffee table shape is something that is not talked about very often, and coffee table shape is like rooted in practicality. So the shape of your coffee table comes down to the type of seating you have in your home. So if you have any type of sectional, so a chaise sectional, an L sectional, a U sectional, I almost always think you need a round coffee table. What is the reasoning? The reasoning is you have a lot of people sitting around one table, and the coffee table is fairly close to where you sit, and it's very easy to like bump your leg or bump your knees while you're scooting past someone, or you're kind of making your way to the sofa. Well, if you have a rectangular coffee table, it makes it even more tight in a sectional. It kind of is pushed in and it fits in perfectly with the sectional and in not a good way. And you're almost always going to hurt your knees. And we don't need that. That is too much negativity in the house. We do not need that when it comes to the coffee table. A round coffee table adds a new shape because your space is already domineered by that big rectangular piece of furniture. And it's going to save your shins. It's going to save your dogs. It's going to save your children because no one is going to hurt themselves on those sharp corners. We always want to vary shapes in any space. You don't want an all rectangular space. You don't want an all round space. I've never seen an all round space, but that seems like it would not be good. We want there to be variation in what we're looking at. So we also want to provide that with our coffee tables. Now, that being said, rectangular coffee tables are really great if you have just like a plain sofa and you have accent chairs on the other side, because it kind of creates a hallway for you to walk down either side, and it allows both sides to kind of have equal access to that coffee table. So you definitely want to think about shape, but I almost always say if you can find a coffee table that has softer edges, more rounded edges, even if it's not a round coffee table, and that presents the perfect opportunity to talk about coffee table size. So oftentimes I see really mega big coffee tables and really, really small coffee tables, and we want to kind of meet in the middle. So when we're thinking about our coffee tables, we want our coffee tables to kind of be 2/3 the width of our sofa, our sectional, or something like that. So if you have a sectional, I want you to take the longest arm of your sectional, and take 2/3 of the width of that, and that is going to be the ideal, width of your coffee table. We don't want our coffee tables to be super big because then it's really hard to maneuver around them. And when they're super small, they don't really serve a purpose because you can't put anything on them, and it just creates like a big proportion issue in the room, and it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. So we want our coffee tables to be big enough so that we can use them, so that we can put our feet up on them. Yes, I agree with that. Put your feet up on your coffee table. You paid for it. So it is worthy of your stinky, dirty feet. And you also want to make sure that it's not too big, because one, that's really expensive and it just swallows up the space. I have had a coffee table that's too big before. I put a picture up on the screen and you can't notice anything but the coffee table. It's just giving coffee table, coffee table, coffee table, and you can't see anything else, and that is not what we want. The only time your coffee table should be that big is when it is fully, truly doubling as a dining table. And you can see in this picture, my dining table is right there, so I did not need a coffee table that big. This one just hurts my heart because it's something that I do. I'm doing it wrong right now. So remember, these videos are about education and practicality, but you can also do what you want because sometimes we just want things to be pretty. But the next mistake you might be making with your coffee table is you're choosing coffee table floral arrangements or vases that are too tall. I love a tall arrangement. I do. I think they're glorious. I think they're beautiful. I love the height that they add, but you cannot see past them. Imagine sitting down to have date night, right? You're sitting on one side of the sofa or in one seating area, and your spouse is sitting parallel to you, and you're trying to get in the mood, really experience some romance, and you're trying to look through the forest to see one another because you can't see through your floors. You're like, hey babe, you having a nice time? Yeah, that's really not that romantic. And that's happening because your floral arrangements or your vases are too tall. If you want to have really tall items, you want to put them on the periphery of your coffee table. So you don't want them dead center. You want to put them kind of on the edge where someone is not going to sit or where someone does not need to see past. This is also relevant if you want to watch TV. Last night, I was watching The Bachelorette. I wanted to see what was going on with this Bachelorette, even though this was 3 years ago and I could simply just Google it. I wanted to see what was going on, and I was like going through my flowers trying to see if she was gonna give this guy the final rose, when in reality I could have just put the vase on the floor. It creates kind of, it messes with conversation, it messes with entertainment. So you just want to be cognizant of the height of things. If you're going to do something really tall, put it on the periphery of your coffee table or put it on the periphery of your room. Having really tall items is great for things that are like a console table or a dresser, something that is pushed up against the back of the wall. And the final coffee table styling design mistake I want to talk about is forgetting to style the second tier. So some people have tiered coffee tables. So you have a top layer and then you have a lower layer. And people will style the top layer beautifully, and the lower layer, it's like, hello, did you forget about me? I'm still here. It's sad. Don't neglect the bottom tier. The bottom tier is something that goes unnoticed. And the reason why it goes unnoticed is because it's a dark abyss down there. It's kind of like the trench of the ocean. We don't want to go down there. If we can't see it, I don't want to go swimming down there. So what we can actually do is put like LED light strips or something on the second tier. If it's not a glass table, please don't do this if you have a glass table, so that it's better illuminated and any decor that you put down there can actually shine. The second tier of a coffee table is also great for boxes or storage bins, so that they add another level of storage without you just throwing things in the coffee table. I will say I've done this before. I've had a lot of decor. I didn't know where to put it, so I just threw it underneath my coffee table thinking no one could see it, and it was just spilling out the other side. So you want to make sure you're using boxes and bins to organize the second tier of your coffee table so that it feels anchored. If you feel like you're putting tons of things on the top and nothing on the bottom, just move some things from the top to the bottom. It's really, really simple. Just have those things be a little bit more low profile so that they can actually fit. But remember, you have to style the entire coffee table. You have to think of it as a whole, not just as one corner or the middle or one tier or the other tier. You need to think about it as a whole, because if not, it's looking a little bit disjointed. But that's it for today's video. Those were some coffee table styling mistakes that are super impractical and ones that you're making, but most of which you can fix today. I hope you found this video helpful, and let me know what you learned down in the comments. If you are ready to give Audible a try and you are a new member, be sure to go to audible.com/DIYKB to start your free trial, or you can text DIYKB to 500 500. Thank you again for watching today's video, and until next time, have a beautiful day.